a pleasure to be here. I'm going to tell you over the next 10 minutes or so why I think STV, a TV company, offers both profit and dividend growth potential. But let me first of all just introduce STV briefly, because we're not necessarily a household name outside Scotland, nor indeed a global powerhouse, at least not yet anyway. The simplest way to describe us is as the ITV of Scotland, but with go faster stripes, we like to think. So if you switch to button 3 on your TV set in Scotland, you get STV, not ITV. Lots of familiar programming, the big soaps, 9 o'clock dramas, Saturday night entertainment, but with comprehensive Scottish news, current affairs and regional programming representing all parts of the country. We are very much Scotland's public service broadcaster. We also operate STV Player, a streaming service which has over 75% of the Scottish population signed up as a registered user and has this year launched UK-wide for the first time. And we run Scotland's largest television production company, STV Studios, which has recently grown to 8 creative labels across the full range of genres, making shows for an increasing number of broadcasters and streamers from our bases in Glasgow, in London and in Belfast. And at STV, we believe in the enduring power of broadcast television. It still accounts for 2/3 of the average person's daily consumption of video content. It's by far the most effective and most trusted way of building consumer brands. However, we all know viewing habits are changing, particularly among young people, and we therefore think we need a balanced profit base at STV to be resilient and to be successful in the years to come. And that is what was behind the single diversification target we set ourselves for the first 3 years of our transformation plan back in 2018, to get to 1/3 of profit from new sources of revenue outside traditional broadcasting by the end of 2020. We hit that target last year, despite the effects of the pandemic. And now we need to accelerate again, and we have a 3-pronged strategy to do that. Firstly, maintaining our viewing and advertising leadership in broadcasting as the most popular TV channel in Scotland, ahead even of BBC One. Secondly, continuously strengthening the STV Player content offer to make the best of the significant opportunity ahead of us in digital streaming. And thirdly, winning more and more commissions in our studios business to produce high volume and build a scaled, profitable production business. I hope you weren't unable to hear me for too long then. We've set clear targets in our growth areas to back up that ambition. We've ring-fenced £30 million over the next 3 years to help double our digital advertising revenues to £20 million and actually quadruple our production revenues in studios to £40 million. And taken together, we're targeting at least 50% of our operating profit to come from the new growth areas by the end of 2023. And you'll see over the next couple of charts that we've made a good start against those targets. Sitting underneath our corporate targets are clear KPIs for each division, which we use to run the business and to measure our progress. In broadcasting, we need to make sure we're growing our viewing share, staying ahead of ITV in audience terms as our closest benchmark, constantly attracting new advertisers to increase our market share. And you can see from the top row of KPIs that we're moving ahead on all fronts. In digital, we track online viewing as the purest measure of our progress, capturing growth in the viewing of our player exclusive programming. The stuff you can't get on the TV channel is also vital, as that's what will increasingly power our digital growth, especially across the rest of the UK. And monthly active users are another key metric, as we want our viewers to return and to watch for longer. All 3 of those KPIs are tracking well up so far this year. And in studios, we regularly assess the strength of the creative pipeline genre by genre, but the key measures of success are new commissions, new series wins that could be returnable, and then our slate of returning series. And we are very much on track to hit the target we've set ourselves of 8 returning series by 2023. You can also see from these key financials on the chart from our half-year results announced just last week that we're recovering strongly from the pandemic, and we're now operating at beyond pre-COVID levels of revenue and profit. Our revenue in the first half of this year was up 35%, 10% ahead of 2019. Profit was up 118% on last year, up 3% on 2019. Our total advertising growth is well ahead of where we thought we'd be at this point in the recovery at plus 32%, 5% ahead of 2019 levels. And within that, Scottish advertising is up 27%, digital revenue up 45%, and our studios business has more than doubled since last year. And overall, that gives the board the confidence to reaffirm its commitment to paying a progressive cash dividend with a proposed interim dividend of 3.7 pence, up 23% on last year. Turning now to our broadcast business, and I'm pleased to say we continue to consolidate our position in Scotland as the most watched channel across all time and across peak time. We also grew our total audience again in the first half of the year by 5%, despite the tough comparators of last year's lockdown when everyone was locked in their homes and had to watch TV. And it's been a similar story for viewing share, which is probably the best way of assessing progress against our competitors. As the chart on the right shows, this will be our 6th consecutive year of viewing share growth. And so far this year, we've actually grown faster than any of the other 500 plus TV channels in the whole of the UK. The most important broadcast metric of all remains how much bigger we are than our next largest commercial competitor, as that is our USP with advertisers. And there I'm happy to report that 99.5% of the programs that attract audiences over 500,000 viewers on commercial TV in Scotland are on STV. And that is a good, strong market share. And of course, we all know how fast growing the global streamers are, like Netflix and Disney and Amazon. But do you know how popular the terrestrial broadcasters are still? This slide shows that of the top 20 most watched TV shows last year, including the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime, STV held 8 of the top 10 slots in Scotland, with Netflix only appearing down at number 13 and number 18. And when you look at the video advertising day overall, our share is even greater, with broadcast TV accounting for 91% of the video ads seen each day by the average viewer, and possibly more surprising still, 77%, over 3/4 of the video ads seen by 16 to 34-year-olds each day. Turning to digital, and the vision for our streaming service, STV Player, is to become a digital destination, not just a catch-up service, and not just in Scotland, but across the whole of the UK. And I'm therefore delighted that STV Player has continued to accelerate so far this year. Our strategy is this simple equation on the slide in front of you. We want to attract more people to watch more content for longer, because that equates to more engagement and in turn more revenue. Following 3 years of strong growth in digital, we already have over 4 million people signed up as registered users of our player, which equates to over 3/4 of the Scottish adult population. This year, monthly active users are up 61%, total streams have almost doubled to 64 million in the first half of the year. Total online viewing is up by 2/3. This has translated directly into an improved commercial performance, with digital advertising revenues up 53%. We've made a fast start in pursuit of our target to double the size of our digital business by 2023. And this next chart, a quite busy chart, is the key to our digital growth. We have a lot of big TV shows on STV Player, the nation's favourite soaps in Coronation Street and Emmerdale, big dramas like Manhunt, the Pembrokeshire Murders and Unforgotten, and in the first half of this year, big events like the Rugby Six Nations and the Euro 2020 football championships. But the most encouraging story isn't the performance of that network premiere content, but of our new player exclusive content. These shows in purple on the right-hand side of the chart are the shows that don't appear on our TV channel, but are on our streaming service exclusively. And such is their popularity that they've accelerated from just 6% of our total digital streams 2 years ago to 43% in the first half of 2021. And because we've acquired the UK rights to these shows, this strategy has also allowed us to launch the STV Player outside of Scotland for the first time. Overnight, we went from an addressable market of 2 million TV households in Scotland to over 20 million households in the rest of the UK. And already, in a little over 6 months, 10 to 15% of our users and our streams come from outside Scotland. You can also see that in the top 20 best performing shows, all of them are dramas. That's why our strategy is to add more and more scripted programming over the coming months. And in total, we've already got over 100 drama shows to choose from on our player, all of them for free. And we'll be dropping a new drama box set every week onto the player until Christmas. And finally, onto our studios division. And our vision here is to build a world-class content business based in Scotland, making big returning shows for all the major networks and global streamers like Netflix and Disney+. We've set ourselves a 3-year target to quadruple revenue to over 40 million, and we've made a strong start there. 2021 will be our busiest, our most successful year by far. We've also already secured a further 15 new commissions so far this year, our forecasting revenue of 20 to 25 million pounds for the year, 3 times last year's level. The foundation of our success will be high quality, high volume returning series, because the predictability of that income helps to remove some of the inherent lumpiness in the financial performance of a production business. But it's the right-hand side of the chart which is the most encouraging. 8 new series secured for 2021 and 22 for a wide range of networks, including 2 new returnable dramas for primetime Channel 4 and BBC One. These 3 programs on this next chart typify what we're trying to do in studios across the genres. Each of them a large-scale returnable format, each of them produced in Scotland this year as a real sign that nations and regions production is really picking up momentum. We successfully completed the filming of our new 6-part Channel 4 drama series Screw in August in Glasgow. We also filmed a new hybrid drama/entertainment series Murder Island on the Scottish island of Gia off the west coast back in May, where members of the public compete to solve a fictitious murder developed and written by Scotland's most famous crime writer, Ian Rankin. And we also recently announced the commission of a new 25-part quiz show for BBC One called The Bridge of Lies, which will start filming in Glasgow in November and be presented by Ross Kemp of EastEnders fame. Now, it's just worth adding that as Scotland's public service broadcaster, we do feel we have both an opportunity and a responsibility to help drive positive social change through the work that we do. And I'm very proud indeed of the impact we're having here, whether it's helping our local communities recover from the pandemic, championing climate action through our STV Zero campaign, improving diversity on and off screen, or prioritising the mental health and well-being of our staff and our viewers. So just to finish, let me reiterate the key messages. We've recovered extremely strongly from the pandemic with revenue and profit already beyond 2019 levels and a positive outlook for the rest of this year and beyond. We have an unrivaled position as Scotland's largest TV channel and marketing platform. Our high margin digital business is accelerating and there's real momentum in our studios business with a string of new programme commissions being made in Scotland. And taken together, these growth areas will generate over 50% of STV's operating profit by 2023, up from 1/3 today, creating a much more balanced, diversified business. And combined with our strong balance sheet and low levels of debt, this gives us the scope to pay a progressive dividend to our shareholders whilst investing for long-term growth. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, try and put these questions in some sort of order, but we might jump around a little bit from subject to subject. Quite a few questions on the studios business. I guess kicking off, what do the studios compete on? If I was choosing between an ITV Studios or any other provider in STV, why do people choose to use your studios?
It's all about the idea, Roland. It's all about the idea. In scripted, it could be about the drama idea, the strength of the script and the characterization. the quality of the writer, the lead actor that you might put in the lead role. In unscripted, it's often about the strength in a quiz show of the quiz dynamic and whether we think that will be mainstream. It is always about the strength of your ideas. This is a people business, an IP business, an ideas business.
And then further to that, it's about domestic and international. Did you have any international clients? Is that an area that is something you could explore?
Yes, so we make shows for some big networks, not just in this country. So we make them for ITV, for BBC, for Channel 4. We also make them for US network Discovery. We have sold our dramas to over 100 different territories worldwide. We made a show called The Victim for BBC One last year, which sold to over 150 territories. We won an international BAFTA for Elizabeth is Missing with Glenda Jackson that we sold to over 120 countries. So yes, we are very internationally minded when it comes to making shows, and of course making them in Scotland. Scotland is eminently exportable as a brand, and we play on that too.
Personally, I didn't appreciate before you spoke there that you had that your own exclusive content on your player, and that's something that's very, very interesting. How is it distributed nationwide? The player, is it via on the Freeview, FreeSat? Is it on Amazon, or all the different ways people get their apps and their different digital channels? How do you get it?
All of the above. So it's on Virgin, it's on Freeview Play, it's on Sky, it's in the Apple Store, it's in Google Play, it's on Amazon channels. It is now in nearly 20 million different homes and pre-installed on the TV sets or set-top boxes of most of those. So you either search for STV or you search for our individual shows and they'll come up.
Okay. Question, what are the plans to manage the pension fund?
Well, the plans to manage the pension fund are to outgrow the size of the pension deficit as well as actively managing it downwards. We are in the middle of a triennial valuation at the moment, and we'll have more news on that in the coming weeks. The accounting deficit has actually reduced significantly in the first half of this year to 42 million, down from 70 million at the start of the year, mainly due to the increase in corporate bond yields. So we are in a reasonably good place with the pension. We have a good relationship with the trustees and are about to put our contributions and payments on a long-term footing through agreeing a new triennial. And I guess our job there is to manage how we allocate capital. We have to service the pension contributions, but we have enough strength in our balance sheet and cash generation across our business to also be investing heavily in growth and at the same time to pay a progressive dividend to our shareholders.
A question a little bit controversial perhaps. Having Scotland in your name, does that restrict your potential markets at all?
We don't think so. In lots of ways, we think it enhances it because Scotland is a strong brand. Actually, if there's anything positive to have come out of the last 5 years or so of Brexit-related uncertainty, it's that the big national broadcasters have realized that their output needs to be more reflective of the whole of the country. And if you're a Scotland-based production company like STV Studios, actually that gives you a real opportunity. We're seeing a huge surge in production in the nations and regions, and we are at the forefront of that. And of course, digital knows no borders. So we used to just be focused on producing shows and broadcasting to Scotland. With our player, we've broken out of Scotland and are now available across the whole of the UK.
Question, I'll try and bring this kind of together. Asking, with such great results, the share price that kind of maybe looks a bit unloved, or that you're not managing to maybe capture the people's attention, is that fair to say? Or it feels like a disconnect between performance and share price performance, I guess, is what the question is asking here. So do you think that it perhaps slightly overlooked? And then further to that, same person asking about the current shareholder base. Is it mostly institutional? Do you have much retail? Who are the major holders?
Well, look, we obviously are doing our best not to be overlooked. Sometimes we don't benefit from the comparison with ITV, whereas we are at a slightly different stage in our growth to ITV. We have a a fast-growing digital strategy that is sort of decoupling that digital business from ITV's content and bringing in those 3,000 hours of new content. We also have a studios business that is growing from a small base very quickly to something quite meaningful. So we would argue that we are turning from a broadcaster into a digitally led, IP-driven media business, and over time that will reflect in our rating. And we're certainly very, very hopeful of that. We have a strong institutional base of shareholders, from Slater to Aberforth to Columbia Threadneedle to Schroders. We have a relatively small retail base, but growing, and we hope to improve that over time.
Okay, well, Simon, that's terrific. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.